In the evening, you lean on the couch in the lounge area, looking over the crime scene photos you had taken earlier. Every photo shows the scene of the dining carriage after the crime, as well as the chaos that ensued. Judging by the mess on the table, Dennis must have overturned the plate in a fit of rage. From different angles, every picture is cluttered. Except for one. These are the glasses that Dennis and the others used, right? There are 4 crystal glasses in the photo. One of the glasses is knocked over, soaking the tablecloth with wine. There are traces of wine at the sides of 2 other glasses which had clearly been put down by the drinkers in a hurry. However, something about the lone glass at the edge of the table strikes you as odd. It is weirdly clean in the mayhem of glasses and dishes. Nobody drank from this glass. What's got you so lost in thought? You look up to see Luke standing before you, a look of concern on his face. I was just looking over the scene photos I took earlier, hoping that I might find clues. Look at this wine glass. I think... What's wrong with that wine glass? Artem's voice comes out of nowhere, and only then do you realize everyone had gathered in the lounge area with their gazes focused on you. Why are you all here? We're all concerned about you. Besides, it's getting late and it's almost time for us to act. The plan is for everyone to wait until the night fog rises again, which is when the shadows are said to appear due to natural changes. Then everyone will look around the carriages for any abnormalities. Oh no, I forgot about the time. Worry not, the fog is just picking up. We have sufficient time to discuss our findings about the wine glass before we move out. Yeah, then take a look at this picture. Doesn't this wine glass look untouched? Tapping on the tablet screen, you zoom in on the photo and point to the particularly clean glass. Indeed, a used glass should have some residual wine on the side. But the rim of the glass in the photo is clean, which means someone must have poured it and left it there. Yeah, I think so too. Dennis' cause of death was accidental ingestion of phenobarbital, which, when combined with alcohol, triggered an allergic reaction. Our theory is that the killer must have mixed it into his food. But when Luke tested the food and alcohol on the dining table, nothing unusual was discovered. So could it be possible that someone switched out the drunk wine so that we couldn't find anything? I asked the conductor if anyone had approached the table after the incident. The conductor insisted no one had, because they had cleared the carriage of passengers to maintain order. So the table was left in the same condition it was when the incident happened. You mean that theoretically, it's unlikely that anyone would change the wine glass after the fact? Is it safe to assume that at the same time as the incident, someone took advantage of the chaos to replace the wine glass? If that's the assumption, it will only be possible for someone at the table to replace the wine glass. Currently, the biggest suspect is Kahn. Kahn is a family doctor with medical knowledge. When it comes to drugs, it's hard for him not to be suspected. Since the target is so obvious, do we need to consider that maybe he's a smokescreen set up by the killer? Whether he is a smokescreen or a suspect himself, one thing is certain, Kahn requires further investigation. as it signs he is the biggest suspect, but we also need to keep an eye on Dr. Ronson. He seems to be hiding a lot of secrets. I agree. Compared to the initial confusion, all of you have now obtained some clues. But following the clues only leads to more and more mysteries. Just as you are all about to go into the details. I hear something. What? Maris points outside the carriage and Moth listen. Listen. There's someone sort of rustling sound. Almost like something is being dragged along the ground. Let's go take a look. Autumn pushes open the carriage door. Outside the carriage is the long and silent corridor illuminated by the dark night. Night comes with a darkness that enveloped the corridor in a night fog which had once been driven away by the sun. Faint shadows hide in it, inviting others to explore its depths. Can't say I'm happy to think that I'm getting used to this kind of paranormal phenomenon. Looking at it from another perspective, wouldn't you say it's kind of an amazing experience? That is not something to be happy about. It will be difficult to spot subtle changes if we get used to such phenomena. Don't be so pessimistic. Maybe what we're looking for has already turned up. Yes, hopefully we will find the hero we've been searching for tonight. Passengers and crew members, perhaps having grown accustomed, are numb to the strange phenomena produced by the night fog. No matter what happens in the corridor, everybody is no longer surprised, unlike what happened the first time around. The corridor is completely empty except for the sound of everyone's shoes rubbing on the soft carpet. Strange, the sound stopped. Are we just hearing things? No, I hear it in the corridor as well. Indeed, I heard it earlier as well. Why don't we keep going? As everyone hesitates, Artem raises his hand and points to the shadows ahead of him in the corridor. No, it's right there. The space ahead where the dim light doesn't shine is pitch black as if it's immersed in a deep pool. In the darkness, however, is something. It gleams white, forming a distinct human shape. I I don't agree. Plan. Element T should not be used in such a dangerous way. Sorry, I must hand it over to. From this distance, you cannot see her clearly, unlike the previous time in the exhibition room. But the same chill that you felt back then is hard to forget. He's talking. Am I hearing things? I heard a voice. I heard her clearly. She just mentioned element T. Element T, that proved Dr. Ronson right. He saw heal. How does that work? Could it really be a ghost? I don't know, but driven by your instinctive curiosity, you make what is perhaps your most impulsive and daring decision to date. I want to see what she really is. You take a huge step forward toward the shadow. Hirara, watch out! Don't go over there! Hearing their attempts to stop you, you step forward only for your arm to be yanked back. Luke now stands before you. Don't be rushed. What if there's... Before he can finish, the anxious look on his face abruptly hardens. At that moment, a bright light pierces the night and fills the long corridor. Vera, are you okay? Do your eyes hurt? No, they are fine. You need to adjust to the lights. Leave the adventurous stuff to me. Luke gently covers your eyes with his hand, preventing the light from hurting your eyes again. It's fine. I'm feeling much better now. People act like that sometimes. After the tide of emotion subsides, only frustration follows. You can't explain what you just did. Maybe it was out of frustration, or maybe you were simply fascinated by the strange phenomenon in front of you and wanted to learn more about it. Sorry, that was rash of me. Well, I can't blame you. I almost ran over to check it out myself too. What? I see someone. I really see someone this time. Luke points to the shadow in at the end of the corridor. Where the strange shadow once was is a flash of someone's actually sneaking around. Someone is sneaking around. I bet they are up to no good. How about we check it out? I mean, huh? He went into the utility room? After watching for some time, the man slips into the small remote utility room. After a while, you can hear people inside having a quiet conversation inside. Hushed voices can be faintly heard in the silent carriage. Hey, why did you call me here? There's no one around. We can talk. Those voices, Dr. Ronson and Yankan? Why are they talking here in the middle of the night? Why not talk in the Kahn Corporation carriage? Is the subject matter private to only them and not the entire Kahn Corporation? Should we get closer? This time, you look back cautiously at everyone. They nod in unison. After reaching an understanding, everyone prepares to move closer to the utility room. However, before that happens, Luke suddenly stops. What's wrong? Isn't it strange? We were guided by a strange sound following eerie shadows in the night fog. Then our attention was suddenly interrupted by a bright light and drawn to the utility room. Hasn't this process been too smooth? Yeah, it seems that guy is deliberately guiding us to the utility room. A chill runs through your heart. Who could that guy be? The soft carpet of the corridor's pool provides the best cover. Through the darkness, you and the others carefully approach the utility room. Perhaps the person inside had been careless, or maybe they were afraid of drawing attention to the sound of a door closing. The door of the utility room is ajar, and despite the limited view, it is possible to more or less see what is happening inside. I saw her. I saw Hill again. Just now, on the way here, she was standing in the corridor smiling at me. I think she's trying to get revenge. She's back with a vengeance. Dr. Ronson, please calm down. Do you know what you're seeing? Is that what an accomplished researcher should say? Yan Khan seems much calmer in the face of Dr. Ronson's desperately held together but hysterical appearance. Yan Khan snorts dismissively. If you're calling me out for this nonsense, I will advise you to get back to the job you need to complete and focus on it. But I can't focus on work at all. I've had enough of this life. I'll go crazy if I have to stay on this train for another day. The heated conversation seems to leave Dr. Ronson in a coughing frenzy. The coughs break in his rhythm, which gives Yan Khan the chance to jump in. Enough, Ronson Fritz. Are you hearing yourself? Yan Khan raises his voice in a fit of anger. If you can't track the code he left behind and acquire the key before reaching Ginun Gagap Island, you know the consequences. What are we going to tell the big shots on Ginun Gagap Island? Kahn Corporation has lost Mark and two cooperative partners, Dennis and Ernst. It won't be easy to explain if we don't do something before we arrive at Ginun Gagap Island. I know, of course, but... No buts. Do what you have to do, that's all. Dr. Rosen takes a deep breath as if to suppress his emotions. Yes, I'll do what I have to do. Yan, I know you have something on me, but don't forget that I'm well aware of what you've done in the past. I just want to get what I deserve when this train reaches its destination, that's all. Yan Khan stares into Dr. Ronson's eyes and smiles meaningfully. Best hope so. Later, Yan Khan and Dr. Ronson have another discussion about something. But this time, their voices are too soft to hear through the open door. To avoid attracting attention by staying in one place for too long, you and the others quietly sneak away. Hmm? As soon as you turn around, you spot a flash out of the corner of your eye. But when you look closer, you find that the corridor is empty. Is it another illusion, or... There's something up with Jan and Dr. Ronson. The code he left behind and the key, what could they be? Could it be related to the element D extraction technology? Could key and getting what he deserves? It's difficult to say there aren't interests involved. And who are the big shots on Ginun Gagap Island? Is it possible that Kahn Corporation is heading to Ginun Gagap Island for more than just the mining auction? Well, it's hard to say. There's much more to investigate if money is involved. Not to mention that special shadow we saw. If she was created by someone, then who is that person? What is that person's identity, and why lead us to the secret meeting between Ronson and Yan? Yes, are they helping us or luring us? It feels like we have more and more questions to answer. I'm the expert when it comes to business and money, but this signal... Marius takes out his phone and shakes it furiously several times. Where there is no signal, high-tech devices are just useless toys. But then... Huh? An indescribable complex expression appears on Mary's face as he holds the screen up to you. What? An unread email notification is flashing on the screen. Filled with thought, you drag Mary's bag to the lounge area. After making sure no one is outside, Maris opens the email surrounded by others. A blank email with an unknown sender? Boy, what a waste of time. It's not a phishing email, is it? Have you ever seen someone receive a phishing email with no signal in sight? Hey, you never know. What if? Means if my account was hacked, Themis law firm will be held accountable for related compensations. Okay, you take out your phone to check the signal status again. As expected, there's no signal, so what's up with this email? Is there a device that can send a message to a designated target similar to how we normally use Bluetooth to receive files? Yeah, technically speaking, that's possible. So we can consider the possibility that the sender is hiding on the Mobius. Interesting. Just as everyone turns away from Marius, his phone vibrates several times. Hey, don't look away, we've got a new development. Thus, Marius becomes the center of attention again. This time, the email still doesn't show the recipient, but there is an attachment. Open it. Are you sure? I'll take responsibility. Marius opens the email attachment. Attached is a video about a minute long, which appears to be recorded by a surveillance device somewhere. In the video, a woman in a white lab coat crouches against a wall in what looks like a factory. Her body is slouched over, her hands grasping her skirt. She looks miserable. It's about time you open up, right? Don't keep me waiting. At the other end, a man walks into the frame from outside the camera's view and crouches next to the woman. The man in the suit is Kahn. Dr. Hill, I hope you understand. Your life is worthless and your fate is up to me. The woman in white does not answer, but she shivers. Hey, give her another shot. Kahn barks the order and several people walks into the frame. Shall I increase the dosage? No, her body can't handle that, right? So what? She's worthless to us if she doesn't talk. Fine. Kahn opens his medicine case and begins to inject something into the woman's arm. Ah! The woman in white suddenly looks up. Her face, twisted by unbearable pain, is exposed to the camera. The video cuts out abruptly, followed by a sudden darkness. Is that Miss Hill? Yes. Mark, Ian, Ronson disconnects them. It does confirm our theory that all the victims on the train so far are related to Hill. So we were right about Hill being the key to this whole thing. But why would someone be so kind as to send over evidence? And Hill was in poor condition in the video. How is she doing now? And where is she? Bakerlon is not like Salis. It's difficult to pinpoint the location just from a video alone, especially without outside help. Is the person trying to help, or is this all part of the plan? Confusing thoughts swirl around your puzzled mind, and for a moment you cannot make out what everyone is seeing. Why does the person in the video look so much like the person in my dream? Did I really dream of Hill? That doesn't make any sense. I didn't know her before. How could I? But that ankle. Your head is filled with a stuffy pin, almost as if a pair of invisible hands have covered your ears. What you saw just now overlaps with the weird dream you had when you first boarded the train, which bothers you even more. Rara, are you not feeling well? I don't really know. It's a strange feeling, but I'm getting a ringing in my ears again. You pinch your earlobes trying to relieve the dull, painful sensation. During your time on the Mobius, have you frequently experienced ringing or discomfort in your ears? Several times, but it always goes away quickly, though it's a little worse than normal today. Have you not been sleeping well? In that case, frowning, Vin points outside of the carriage. Go take a look. Luke doesn't say anything but then charges out the door as if remembering something. Hmm? What's going on? Let's check it out. The corridor is still illuminated by a dim light with the night fog ever present. Looks like there's nothing. Before Maris can finish, Luke sprints toward the end of the corridor. Freeze! The door at the end of the corridor, which separates the carriage, is yanked open by Luke. As soon as the door opens, a black shadow darts past, swift as lightning. Looks like the shadow sensed your presence, or maybe it was just mocking you. The shadow disappears in the blink of an eye. Damn! So close. The narrow corridor doesn't provide many places to hide, but the shadow has disappeared into thin air. Hey, was that a person? How did it move so fast? It was, but their movement is not the fastest. Luke's reaction was faster than he anticipated, so he had to sacrifice a row to save the king. Vin bends down to pick up something from beside the display stand in the corridor, which he shows everyone. What is it? In the center of Vin's hand is a small square box. An electronic touchscreen is visible on the side, but the crack on it indicates it's broken. This should be the heal switch. Maris inspects the device, then smirks at Vince. It's a microwave signal controller. No wonder. It seems someone has been playing a trick. Microwave signal? In short, it's a kind of device that uses microwave frequency to send signals directly to the brain. It will send sounds or images that the sender wants the receiver to hear or see through pulse signals. When I was working on a new device at PAX Technology, I saw someone designing a VR gaming machine using a similar technology. However, the project was temporarily shelved as the technology was not quite up to par yet. I take it someone wanted us to see Hill, so they used the device to send microwave signals to us. That is one way of understanding it. Vin, you already guessed it. By a stroke of luck. Some people experience discomfort when exposed to microwave signals, including tinnitus. I came up with this conjecture after Shirara mentioned experiencing tinnitus several times. Moreover, we were deliberately lured to overhear the conversation between Ronson and Yan. It convinced me that my conjecture was correct. I didn't really think much of it at first. After all, the night fog and magnetic fields on the Mobius were inherently strange. Among the strange phenomena was also Hill's shadow, which is hard to discern. It's not entirely by luck, but it's evident that the person made contact with us deliberately, leading us to clues. Perhaps he wanted us to discover his existence. All the information obtained today seems to be tangled in a knot. You try to straighten it out, but it only leaves you more frustrated. Why would someone play a trick on us to get us to notice Hill? Is it really as Mr. Wing said? Is someone guiding us? Is it for a just purpose, or are we also being used? Could that person be related to Hill, or could it be Hill herself? Yes. Overwhelmed by questions, the stuffy pain returns to your ears. Your forehead throbs with intermittent pain. Let's all get some rest. It's late. Yeah, we should get some rest. We can discuss the clues later. Okay. The next day, the bright dawn leaves the night fog and illuminates the carriages. After a night rest, the discomfort that plagued your body has disappeared. But the puzzles that remain repressed in your heart are still as confusing as ever. After washing up as quickly as possible, you leave your room and meet up in the separate lounge area belonging to Anthrax. Morning, why are you up so early? Arthur puts down his tablet, getting up to talk to you. Good morning, Mr. Wing. I'm already used to it. It's difficult to rest with peace of mind under these circumstances. I see that you're also up early, Mr. Wing. I'm used to it as well. Incidentally, I wrote a brief summary of what happened last night and what's happened in the meantime. He points to the mind map on the tablet screen. We can discuss it in more detail when everyone is here. Sure. Vin, who is used to getting up late, arrives at the lounge area last. Autumn places the tablet on the table, projecting its contents. You wrote all this last night? Not in a night, I woke up early. Look, Vin, early to bed, early to rise. Sometimes it is not a good habit to lecture others. Vin stops Mary sneezing with just one sentence. Well aware of their dynamic by now, you change the subject. Shall we start the discussion now? No, let's do that after breakfast. Autumn stands up to turn off the tablet screen. Huh? Then what did you show us? Just to show everyone what our discussion will be about later. Just then, there is a rapid knock on the door. Is anyone there? That sounds like Amy. Opening the door, Amy is standing in the corridor. He nervously scans around him but looks relieved when you open the door. Can you all come see Dr. Ronson with me? There's something wrong with him. What happened to Dr. Ronson? don't know. I think he's sick. Sick? Yeah, when I asked Dr. Ronson if you wanted breakfast, he said he was too dizzy to eat. When I came back from the dining carriage, I saw him coughing pretty badly. I tried to call a crew member for help, but he told me off for being nosy. So I don't know what to do, and I don't know the others well. Come on, let's check it out. No, this method isn't right. That won't work either. No, none of these steps are right. Upon entering the room, you find Ronson standing at his desk, his face stricken with pain. There are stacks of paper in front of him, many of which he has already riffled through. Several pages have fallen to the floor in disarray. Dr. Ronson, how are you? I'm fine. Where did you go, Amy? Have you finished reviewing the data? If you're not going to focus on work, go find another job. Ronson looks around while cursing, but his eyes are fixed on you and the others. Why are all of you here? Amy, didn't I tell you to stay away from them? He angrily slams his face on the table, which seems to shake the whole carriage. Third, a glass bottle falls to the ground and rolls to Artem's foot. Artem is about to bend down to pick it up when Ronson comes charging from behind the desk. Don't move. Everything in this room is very important and confidential. You're liable for any damages and compromised secrets. Amy trembles in fear, cowering in a corner where Dr. Ronson can't see him. Autumn picks up the bottle and puts it back on Ronson's desk. Amy was worried about you and called us here. Dr. Ronson, anger is detrimental to your health, especially when you are sick and on medication. Thanks for your concern. I've never felt better. With a cough like that, he's not very convincing. Vin refuses to comment but inspects the bottle on the table. Aminophylline release capsules. Dr. Ronson, do you have asthma? Ronson narrows his eyes. No, I needed to go down in the mines when I did research in the past. I wasn't careful in my youth and my lungs paid the price. Are you done? I have work to do here. Please leave. Is it COPD? Aminophylline can help alleviate the symptoms of COPD to some extent. With all due respect, Dr. Ronson, you seem a lot worse off now. Are you sure you don't need to see a doctor? No need. An old illness like mine is bound to have its ups and downs. Dr. Ronson, is this a new bottle of pills? Luke points to the stacks of documents on the desk. There is an empty bottle of pills that you forgot to throw out. I'm guessing you recently finished a bottle of aminophylline pills, correct? So what if I have? On a luxury train such as the Mobius, there are housekeepers responsible for the carriages. That means the carriages should be very clean and devoid of anything that would worsen your condition. And yet, your condition has suddenly worsened. Don't you find that strange, Dr. Ronson? Ronson's face grows grimmer, and you can't tell if the expression in his eyes is one of shock or anger. What are you implying? If I recall, aminophylline can be toxic, right, Vin? Yes, aminophylline toxicity can cause digestive and psychiatric symptoms. Dr. Ronson, if you have been medicated for a long time, you should know the side effects of aminophylline better than me. You mean there might be something wrong with this bottle? Nonsense! How could there be a problem with my medication? Yan gave Ronson's voice shrills off as he looks down at the bottle. An eerie silence spreads through the room. The silence isn't really quiet, but feels like a hook in your heart, making you feel uneasy. All of you, charge in here, spewing all that nonsense. Where's your proof? We don't have any. What we said is merely conjecture. Ronson sneers as if he had finally seized a loophole. But Luke is one step ahead of him, retrieving a capsule from the bottle. What are you doing? Looking for proof. Luke's modified device seems to work, detecting an abnormality in the capsule before Ronson flies off the handle. What is this? You're lying to me. Luke calmly looks at the middle-aged man, who is furious that the result was not what he expected, and shows him the report. The probability that a machine is lying is far less than the possibility of a human lying. On the cold electronic screen, the test results are abnormal. The aminophylline dosage in every capsule is several times more than normal. If the patient follows the normal slow-release capsule dosage, there will be symptoms of poisoning. Who is trying to poison me? Could it be him? No. How could it be? Dr. Ronson, you said Ian can't give you this bottle of pills? It seems you know something that he doesn't want anyone else to know, and he wants to keep it that way. Everything that's happened on the Mobius is tied to him. What a joke! That's impossible. Impossible, I say. Despite his claims that it's impossible, his eyes waver. Nothing is impossible once money is involved. There have been 3 victims on the train, and you are more fortunate than them. You're still alive. Dr. Ronson, would you like to tell us what you know? Ronson falls silent, then looks at Amy, cowering in a corner. Amy, go back to your room. This has nothing to do with you. Yes. Amy jumps up like a frightened kitten and runs for the door. With Amy gone, Ronson managed to control the anger on his face. I know you are investigating Kahn Corporation. You suspect that Yan Khan is behind everything, and perhaps that I'm his accomplice. There are indeed suspicions. But I can tell you that there is no conflict of interest between me and Yan Khan. Dennis and Ernst, on the other hand, had some problems. Are you trying to say that you had nothing to do with this and you're a victim too? Luke examines Ronson with a blank expression. You won't believe whatever I say. This is the keycard to the safe in the luxury carriage. Ronson opens a locked drawer in his desk and takes out a card, slapping it on the desk. That safe is mine, and everything in it belongs to me. Go see for yourself. All this time, he has been so cold to all of you. His sudden calm attitude leaves you puzzled. Is he willing to cooperate with us because he believes something is up with Yan Khan? But he said it so ambiguously that it didn't seem like he's actually cooperating. And he has yet to mention Hill. Is it deliberate, or does he not realize we already know something? Seeing you in a daze, Maris waves his hand in front of your eyes. What's on your mind, Shara? This gesture interrupts your thoughts. It happens with confusing thoughts sometimes, where they become even more difficult to decipher when interrupted. The best thing to do in this situation, of course, is to give up thinking and deal with the problem at hand. No, it's nothing. Let's go to the luxury carriage first. Oh, the sieve is here. The sieve that Ronson mentioned is on the bottom shelf. It isn't much to look at, but it isn't hard to find either. Luke crouches down to remove the paperback books blocking the sieve. You pass him the keycard. The sieve opens with a gentle beep. What's in it? Luke doesn't say anything but takes out a stack of documents from within. What a thick stack! Are the documents? Yes, research data, I believe. But judging from the handwritten notes on the first few pages, this should be a draft. The research seems to be about Bakerlon crystals and new synthetic materials. Maris, I remember you said earlier that Dr. Ranson is an expert in synthetic materials, right? That's right. Well, that's strange. This research data doesn't belong to Dr. Ronson. Huh? It belongs to Hill. Autumn flips through the pages and finds the signature of the person in charge of one of the data sheets. It is signed Sheila Hill. Let me see. Marius takes the documents from Autumn and looks at them carefully. If I'm not mistaken, these have all been published by Ronson. It's a data report on new synthetic materials and the feasibility of their applications. But why is Hill's signature on the draw data? And the handwriting is different from Ronson, so it doesn't look like Ronson signed for someone else. Could it be Ronson stole Hill's research data? A cloud of doubt rises in your mind, but it quickly points to an answer waiting to be found. But just then, the door swings open with a loud clang. Hey, what are you doing? Microwave signal controller, a device that uses the pulse signals to send signals to the brain where images or voices are formed. PAX Technology used a similar principle to design a VR gaming system, but it failed to enter the market for various reasons. Lab report, the original data report on new compound material. It details research information on Bakerlon crystals and a new compound material, including research results published by Dr. Ronson. However, the signature on the original data report was Sheila Hill's. How dare you tamper with our company's confidential information? Kahn hurries over to the bookcase where his eyes almost pop up upon seeing the open safe. Oh no, Dr. Ronson sent us here, but we forgot that someone else might come in. We have no intention of causing trouble. Please, calm down. We were just... Shut up! How dare you tamper with our company's confidential information? Without waiting for an explanation, Kahn rudely cuts you off. There is a hint of redness on his face, not from shame or excitement, but from a deep flush of anger. Out! Get out! Yan Khan almost lunges forward, forcing you to back up to avoid him bumping into you. The others pulls you back, keeping some distance from him. Just then, what if I allowed them? Dr. Ronson boldly walks in through the open carriage door, followed by a frightened Emmy. Have you gone mad? Don't you know what's in that safe? Sorry to disappoint you, but I haven't gone crazy yet. I just unveiled your true face before I went crazy. With Ronson's appearance, Yan Kang's anger quickly subsides. He throws all of you a glance. Did they see something to you? Trust your reasoning and your connection to Kahn Corporation will prevent you from being swayed by outsiders. There is more than meets the eye to this man. Vin mutters in a low voice. It feels a little strange, but for some reason the word seems to flow naturally from his mouth. He's more than meets the eye. Is Dr. Richter saying that Yan Khan is a very cunning man? Yeah, Ronson hasn't said anything, and he's already certain that it's us. A loud bang pulls you back to reality. Ronson takes out the medicine bottle that was examined by Luke, then sees something. Yan Khan slams his fist on the desk, his face flushed with anger once more. What? You think I poisoned you? Please, Dr. Ronson, what reason would I have to poison you? You and I are the only ones left on this train. If I'm dead, you alone would make the decisions. Dr. Ronson, I only gave you a new bottle because you said you ran out of pills. How could I possibly know whether you would run out of pills or not? Besides, that bottle of pills have been in your rooms for days. How do you know it hasn't been tampered with? Are you certain someone didn't switch out the capsules? That kid next to you goes in and out of your room every day. It's more likely that he did it. Surprised by the sudden accusation, Emmy backs toward the wall by the door, shaking his head. No, I didn't do it. More than meets the eye, indeed. Despite his anger, Yan Khan retains a sound mind capable of finding any flaws in your logic to find a way out for himself. You're right, the capsules were only a conjecture. But the fact that Dr. Ronson believed us, I believe it is an indication that he expected you might try to kill him. What? Yan Khan cuts in with surprise, drawing attention away from his argument with Dr. Ronson and onto your group. One of the wine glasses on the table has been replaced. After analyzing its contents, there were no abnormal substances found. However, when reviewing photos of the crime scene, we noticed something odd about one of the wine glasses. Everything in the dining carriage had been touched, except for this wine glass. Autumn takes out the tablet to show him a photo of the dining table. What does a wine glass that nobody drank from prove? It proves that there was something wrong with this glass. This wine glass was placed near where Dennis sat at the table. According to Susan, Dennis had a habit of drinking, and yet he didn't take a sip from this glass. This in itself is suspicious. We don't have the testing equipment to pick up any biological traces. However, we have asked the crew members to preserve everything from the crime scene. When the police arrive with a forensic team, I'm sure they will find something. Of all the people who eat there, you and Dr. Ronson are the only two people left. That makes the two of you the only suspects who could have switched out the glasses. So it's either you, Dr. Ronson, or the both of you. But either way, having suspicious placed on you is a very troublesome thing. But if something were to happen to Dr. Ronson, then it would be an entirely different matter. Vin, who has remained silent up to this point, suddenly follows up on Luke's words. Dr. Ronson's death would bury whatever secrets he knew, and it could be disguised as a suicide. In short, you stand to benefit. I... Before Yan Khan can come up with a rebuttal, Dr. Ronson is already fuming. I see. With Dennis dead, the threat to you also disappeared. So, you wanted the key all to yourself? Oh my, I've never seen a bigger fool than you. I regret trusting someone as foolish as you. With a brain like yours, how couldn't you? You couldn't even crack the code and access the key data, even though you had everything you needed. Foolish? Of course I am. That's why I was willing to be used. Otherwise, I would have ended up dead like Hill, wouldn't I? Miss Hill is dead? Dr. Ronson, please explain yourself. Of course, I'm more than happy to. Don't you dare! Yan Khan's stress is interrupted by the sudden opening of the door. I heard that someone needs legal aid here. William Lewis appears at the door at the worst possible time, squeezing past Amy, who is still trembling, walking into the carriage. By the time he senses the tension in the carriage, it is too late to leave. Autumn stops him. Perfect timing, Mr. Lewis. We have some questions we'd like to ask Yan Khan and Dr. Ronson. Huh? What? It could involve Mr. Khan and the other two victims. I believe it would be better for you to see. You found Mr. Khan's killer? Who is it? Not exactly, but we did find something more complicated. William Lewis falls silent for a few moments, sizing up everyone present. Let's talk in the dining carriage. With how serious the matter has become, I'd feel safer with more witnesses around. You wonder how William Lewis explained the situation to Simon. By the time you all arrive, the passengers have already gathered in the dining carriage. They look at each other cautiously, as if waiting for this absurd journey to end. Mr. Lewis just said, "You found my husband's killer?" Do you have any idea what happened to Mr. Kahn and the other victims? Who's the killer? The train hasn't made any stops along the way, which means the killer must be one of us. Was it the doctor from Kahn Corporation? Did he kill his own people? But the people in the dining carriage start asking questions before any of you can even speak. Everyone, please remain calm. I know everyone is anxious for the truth, but all we have are theories for now. We need more evidence and clues to support our theory. Then, the reason you called us here... I'm asking you all to be witnesses. This is something that we all experienced firsthand, so everyone has the right to know. The chance of Athenis from Bulb and Themis working together would be close to nil in Stelis. But here it happens naturally. Hey, you can start. Seeing you still in a daze, William Lewis prompts you. Alright. You collect yourself and turn to look at the dejected man sitting in the corner. Dr. Ronson, can I ask you some questions? Ronson purses his lips as if he wants to smile politely but fails. Go ahead. Dr. Ronson, you just said that the threat disappeared with the death of Mr. Dennis. In its literal sense, of course. Dr. Ronson glances out of the corner of his eyes at young Kahn, who is standing silently to the side. In the past, Yan cooperated with Ernst to earn kickbacks and embezzling assets from Kahn Corporation. When one of the partners, Mr. Dennis, discovered this loophole, he repeatedly asked Yan to let him in on the action. Miss Susan said Dennis had a beef with Ernst. Could this be it? Oh, he wanted a slice of the pie instead of blowing the whistle. At the core of every businessman is a desire for profit. If he stands to profit from it, why wouldn't he want to be a part of it? However, Dennis was too stupid to realize Yan and Ernst weren't planning to let him join them. Besides, it doesn't feel good to be blackmailed every day. They might as well find a way to get rid of him. At least they could take a breather. You mean Dennis discovered Yan and Ernst's illegal scheme? But chose not to expose them and blackmail Yan Kahn instead. And Yan Kahn didn't want to be blackmailed, so he poisoned Dennis? That might be one of the reasons. Another reason is that Dennis was too foolish. He was dumb enough to ask us to our faces if Yan did something to Mark. You suddenly remember the sound of arguing when you followed William Lewis to the luxury suite. Yan Kahn and Ernst snapped at Dennis. Could it be? Do you mean that time we went to the luxury suite? Yes, you're sharp. Dennis just had to confront them about their involvement in Mr. Kahn's murder. Truly foolish. At this point, Dr. Ronson sighed while shaking his head. I don't know what was going on inside his head. He was certain of their involvement when he heard Mr. Kahn died of poisoning. To threaten them with Mr. Kahn's death with absolutely no evidence. He demanded Yan represent Kahn Corporation and offer him the same benefits as Ernst. Isn't that walking into the lion's den? Strange, how could Mr. Dennis know without conducting any tests? Was he equipped with a certain level of pharmacological knowledge? Does that mean you know how Yan Kahn dealt with Dennis? A little. I was in on it after all. Yan and Ernst asked Dennis to meet them for a dinner under the pretense of cooperation. The plan was to dose Dennis' drink with phenobarbital. After the drug triggered an allergic reaction, his death would be ruled as accidental death on the grounds that he ingested an unknown drug that caused heart failure. The drug was supposed to trigger an allergic reaction 3 hours after dinner, but for some reason, Dennis had an allergic reaction shortly after drinking alcohol, and chaos ensued after he stabbed Ernst to death. Dr. Ronson frowns slightly as he speaks, clearly puzzled by what happened in the dining carriage that day. Do you mean Mr. Ernst's death was not part of the plan? Correct. Dr. Ronson, what did you mean when you said you were in on it? Yan gave me the simple task of distracting Dennis at the dinner table so he and Ernst could drug him. Why? I said it before. If I stand to profit, why wouldn't I be involved? Oh, why? Vin repeats the same why you ask. The difference is his tone sounds more like an interrogation than a question. That's because of his guilty conscience. A voice interrupts Dr. Ronson's delayed answer. After everything he said, isn't it my turn? Dr. Ronson seems surprised when Yan Khan cuts him off, but he sees nothing. Then, are you willing to answer my questions? Yan Khan nods in agreement. By this point, he has returned to his usual calm demeanor without the slightest hint of anger. So, why did Dr. Ronson agree to involve in your plan? That's because he didn't want people to find out that he was an imposter. Didn't you guys see the files in the safe? Yan Khan pauses deliberately, observing the pale expression on Dr. Ronson's face before smiling with satisfaction. That research data was done by someone else, and he just put his name on it. He is a combative, not a research expert on synthetic materials. If it wasn't for me, he'd be nothing. So you have Ronson still miss Hill's research results and claim them as his own? You know about Hill? I'm surprised. Well, some research data did indicate her name. Not just her. We might know more about Miss Hill than you could imagine. Yan Khan is stunned, not expecting that response from Artem. Miss Schneider told you, right? As a competitor, she is well informed. We did receive help from Miss Schneider. But you seem to know more about Hill. Hill is probably the most stubborn person I've ever met. Kahn Corporation intended to spend considerable resources on her development, but because of her persistence, she was ridiculed. Why? What happened to Hill? The contents of the anonymous letters from before are imprinted in your mind. There doesn't seem to be a need to ask, but for some reason, you still want to confirm what happened from someone involved. Nothing. The look of surprise lingers on his face for a moment, then disappears. He let Mark down and betrayed our expectations for her. I'm sure Miss Schneider must have told you about Hill's research topic. Yes, it was about the element. Yes, the element. This precious commodity was in high demand but low production. Hill had the full support of Kahn Corporation for her research in order to improve the efficiency of the element extraction. But when it came time to verify her research, who knew she would deliberately withhold her research results and refuse to cooperate with the company? What else could the company do? The company must be accountable for shareholder interests. Thus, Mark terminated Hill's research right and ordered her to hand her research data over to Dr. Ronson. And just like that, Hill was fired from our company. Where did Miss Hill go after being dismissed? That I don't know. I heard she went overseas. But what about Dr. Ronson's statement that Miss Hill was murdered? How should I know? A person will say anything in anger. In any case, I'm not sure where Hill went. Strange. Yan Khan speaks of a plausible truth. Those who read the anonymous letters understand the problem, but the authenticity of the letters is also questionable. It's uncertain whether that can be used as rebuttal evidence. According to you, Miss Hill didn't comply with the company and even act against the company's interests. Then why didn't your company seek legal action? It's hard not to wonder if there was something going on, something that the company doesn't want to face. What? You think we did something illegal to force Hill to hand over her research? Hey, watch what you say. We certainly have our own reasons for comforting you about this. Because of Mary's performer remarks, the expression on Yan Khan's face deepens. I admit we might have gone overboard trying to get Hill to give in. Perhaps out of fear that you know the truth, Yan Khan chooses to see something ambiguous again. But I promise, I never wanted to do anything to Hill. And I don't know why Hill was hellbent on not saying anything. We had no other choice. Anyhow, we only obtained some encrypted digital files and her research data on paper, nothing else. Then where's Hill? She's missing. Yankan shrugs. One day, the person responsible for watching her said she disappeared. We had people search for her for several days, but still couldn't find her. We suspect someone inside the company must have helped her escape. That this was a major scandal at Kahn Corporation, and we didn't want it to blown out of proportion, so we keep it quiet. I really don't know where she is right now, whether she is alive or not. No, if the video is real, then Miss Hill is probably dead. He calmly told his side of the story while covering up his actions with ambiguity. This man is harder to deal with than Dr. Ronson. I don't know why everyone cares so much about Hill, but I don't believe she has anything to do with the matter you're investigating. Not necessarily. Moments before his death, Mr. Khan also called out Hill's name. And didn't Dr. Ronson also claim he saw Hill's shadow? That you can think of it however you want, but I had nothing to do with Hill. My only mistake may have been forgetting to take into account that everyone has a different tolerance. I didn't properly measure the dosage I put in his wine glass, and Yan Khan gives Dr. Ronson a cold stare. I trusted this foolish man. Foolish? It was that foolishness that let me figure out what you were planning, so I'm fine with being foolish. I already told you I didn't tamper with your medication. Do you think anyone believes you? Now I'm starting to believe, Dennis, that you killed Mr. Khan. After all, with Mr. Khan out of the way, you're free to use his resources however you want, isn't that right? Oh my, that's the funniest slander I've ever heard. Why don't you talk about yourself? Mark forced you into Hill's shadow by doing shady research. Maybe deep down in your heart you detest his hypocrisy. Yan Khan and Dr. Ronson go after each other like two beasts caught in a net. Villains become friends out of common interests, but when there are conflicting interests, the temporary friendship will fall apart. Arthur mocks them, forcing the two of them to stop in embarrassment. They are taken aback. Don't bother saying that to uncultured people. They wouldn't understand anyway. Hey, I'll be kind enough to translate for you. It means that both of you are scum. Honestly, with Mary's interruption, the tense atmosphere eases somewhat. But with Yan Khan, there are far too many questions that need to be sorted first. For this reason, you temporarily ask William Lewis and the crew members to watch Yan Khan and Dr. Ronson. You and the others step out of the dining carriage into the quiet corridor to discuss the information at hand. It's exhausting talking to Yan Khan. He always seems to find an excuse for himself. More importantly, the clues that we have point to his involvement in Danny's death, but everything else... Yeah, he's very sly. And I get the feeling they had nothing to do with Mr. Khan's death. Oh? Think about it. Throughout your lengthy agreement, neither of them mentioned how the red poppy flower made of paper got there. In their minds, that flower is an element that can be ignored. Indeed, if the killer had placed it, it means that it holds some significance. And then there's the microwave frequency controller from last night. They were all in the utility room at the time. So there's no way that thing belongs to either of them. That leaves only one possibility. There is a third person on this train, a secret mastermind that is manipulating us to provoke conflict between them. Correct. I suspect the same person is responsible for my job as well. So is that person's target Hill? We cannot say for certain yet. The conditions on the train are limited, so we need more evidence to prove our case. What a cunning spider. They spun a web but used someone else's hand to trap their prey. I have an idea. After everything Yan and Dr. Ronson reveal, the passengers will most likely have some thoughts about it. We might learn something if we walk around the dining carriage. Indeed, observing the passengers' reactions is one way to do it. Susan, may I ask your opinion about this matter? From the looks of it, it appears that your husband was a victim, but he was also involved in the conspiracy. I don't want to say anything. Please leave. Do you not want to say anything because you feel guilty for what your husband did? That's enough. Susan doesn't want to talk. It's her right. Luca still wants to press for more information, but Luke grabs the voice recorder from his hands and turns it off. Hey! Perhaps you can conduct a more meaningful interview. Or are you trying to get information in other manners that journalists don't usually stoop to? Luke quietly clenches his fist, which produces two cracking sounds. Luca holds his tongue and turns around to leave. Susan, don't take it too hard. Thank you. Sorry, I really don't want to say anything right now. Let's leave her be. Okay, I understand. Damn, it was them. Damn it! Had I known earlier, if I had... Does Simon looks annoyed? Is it because of what Yankan and Dr. Ronson say? Technically speaking, the crew on the Mobius is affiliated with Kahn Corporation. Perhaps Simon is too ashamed to work with those people. Is that all? It feels like his reaction is a little too intense. But if I had to put a finger on it, I wouldn't be able to. I knew things would turn out this way. Miss Schneider, do you know something? Don't misunderstand. I don't know any more about this more than you. It's just, well, there are some things where you can guess the ending once you've seen the beginning. Do you mean the internal strife within Kahn Corporation? Yeah, aren't all big families like that? Miss Schneider smiles meaningfully. They fight to the death over an incalculable amount of property, money, research, and future prospects. Especially someone who pretends to be the kind adoptive son who knows how many illegitimate children are recognized by the outside world. Miss Schneider, you seem to have a deep understanding of the situation. Miss Shira, when you've seen these people as much as I have, you will know not to approach them with compassion and sincerity. Poor Hill, she was their sacrifice. Emmy, are you free to talk? We like to ask. Of course, I'm guessing you want to ask about Dr. Ronson. When things happen to Dr. Ronson, Emmy always sighs weakly as if his wit has collapsed. You don't look so well. Can I order you a glass of brandy? No, thanks. I just didn't expect it. As you are well aware, Dr. Ronson has given me a lot of guidance on my research. But after finding out what he did today, I really sorry, I don't know what to say. Emmy's face goes pale. It seems things are hitting him pretty hard. Please allow me to rest for a while. If there's anything I can do later, I'd be happy to help. Sure, get some rest. The temporary absence of Yan Khan and Dr. Ronson does not resolve come to the dining carriage. In previous conversations with passengers, there is a growing sense of unease. After talking to the passengers, we still don't have any more clues. That's normal. The mastermind has been hiding on the train for so long. Indeed, it will take more than observation to figure out the person's identity. Yeah, based on what we know, we're still too passive. How can we go on the offensive? While everyone is deep in thought, hurried footsteps sound nearby. Mr. Lewis? William Lewis had been in charge of escorting Yan Khan and Dr. Ronson to another carriage to avoid causing a bigger ruckus in the dining carriage. You're all here? Good, I have something to tell you. What? If you need help with anything else, call me. I'll be happy to help. He takes big strides over to your group, still a little out of breath. It seems he hurried back after making arrangements. Oh, did I hear that wrong? What, can't I help? Don't forget, Ball Legal Office is the top law firm in Dallas. No, it's just... Before Maris can finish, Artem steps in and nods at William Lewis. Thank you. William Lewis blinks several times, confused by Artem's gratitude. Don't misunderstand. I'm only offering to help because it was a little pathetic watching all of you try to investigate the clues. Besides, we're all on the same train, so helping you is the same as helping me. That won't happen next time. Oh, arrogant. Thanks for the offer, Mr. Lewis. We'll ask you for help if we need it. But for now, the most important thing is for you to keep an eye on Yan Khan and Dr. Ronson. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Oh, that young fellow is also helping you so they won't get away. Young fellow? Oh, the fellow who's been running around with all of you. What was his name again? Eric? No, Emmy. He is helping you watch over them? Yeah, he seemed kind of enthusiastic. Oh. Vin smiles then looks out the window without saying anything else. In the dining carriage, the voices of the passengers continue, but your discussion comes to an abrupt end. It feels like being blocked by a wall, creating an invisible gap from the noise. There is a saying that truth sits in a box on a shelf. If it is not found, it will one day become useless garbage. Right now, it is uncertain whether you can push through this invisible wall and retrieve the box waiting to be discovered. But one thing is for certain, this is far from over.